Alright, hi everyone. So this video is pretty much just going to be a fairly informal discussion of all the observations I had while playing Frappe Snowland and getting pretty top times here, 137 and 155 on 100cc, but we're not going to be talking about 100cc here. And so we're going to talk about the 3-lap and the flap. So the 3-lap is just going to be the standard strat. I'm going to be discussing a strat that's pretty much applicable for anyone looking for really any range of time. This should even work if you're looking for a 142, but of course I'm hoping after this video you can do much better than 142. You can do much better than 140. In fact, I'm hoping that this should easily get you to at least a 138 or 139 kind of time. In terms of the flap, so I'm not going to be discussing the BLS strat because, of course, I don't have enough expertise with that. I'm assuming most of the people who are watching this video would not need my advice if they were aiming for a BLS flap. They would be at least at my own level on this track, if not better. So yeah, the flap strat I'm going to be discussing is the egg one. I think I don't have a perfect time. You know, a really great egg one time would be 31.6, 31.7, but I do have a 31.8 with like I still am on a good time to save, so I think that it's a pretty good indication of what is possible with the egg one. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the 3-lap. We talk about the flap. Let's jump straight into the 3-lap. So, okay, first things first. Of course, this video is assuming that you're gonna be doing the PRB start for the 3-lap. If you're not gonna be doing that, first of all, do your best. You know, try to learn it. But if you really can't, you're just starting out. It's not really a problem. You're just going to go ahead and follow exactly what happens on lap 2. You're going to do the same thing, but on lap 1. And lap 2 is where I'm going to be doing the shrimless shortcut. Now, of course, you can order the laps however you want. You can even do the shroom shortcut lap 1 if you're not doing PRB. But this tutorial is mainly intended for people who are going to be looking to do the PRB strat. But of course, even if you're not doing the PRB start, it's still applicable. The rest of the video is still totally applicable to you. So with that being said, let's just start watching here. So this is my own run, 137.950 with a lot of very large mistakes. So this is more like a mid 137 level driving time. That's why I think it's a good video. So yeah, we'll just see what's going on here. So, okay. So, and stop right there. Okay, so already we have a pretty important stopping point. So this corner, you have PRB, you're thinking, man, I'm gonna cut this corner as tight as possible, save as much time as I can. Going tight is going fast. But you would potentially be mistaken. So assuming that you're not going for the double hop PRB strat before the shortcut, you should not go max time in this corner. Now, if you are, and you're really looking to do that double hop PRB strat, go as tight as you want, go as tight as you can, really, because you'll be totally fine. But if you're not doing that, then I would suggest not going max time in this corner. Even the world record does not go max time in this corner. Or, well, not the world record, the BLS time, I don't know about that, but the egg BKT, the former world record, does not go max height in this corner for a very specific reason. You want to kind of go quite shallow on this corner. So as you can tell, I'm not cutting it too close to the tree. I'm not cutting too much of this corner off, and get back on the road quite quickly. And the reason for that, so this MT, by the way, you want it to be kind of neutral. You want to have a neutral start, but you want to be pressing left as much as you can. Like, especially if you task this game, think about a really neutral start, but then still like a max left MT. That's kind of what you want to emulate. Of course, you're an RTA. You don't have that kind of precision, but that's what you kind of want to emulate. So yeah, you can see that's exactly what happens here. Now this MT, you want to go max tight. Full cart spin, press left as early as you can, immediately after pressing the R button. For the drift, press left as early as you can, press left as much as you can during the MT, get it done. Yeah. So now I'll finally explain why you don't want to go max tight on the first corner. If you go max tight on the first corner, you'll actually not be able to go very tight on this corner. Going max tight on the first corner does not really save that much time over not going super tight. But if you go wide on this corner, you're going to lose a lot of time. I mean a lot of time. Like, you could lose up to 0.1 on just this corner if you're going wide. So you want to really make sure you're going tight, really make sure that you're starting all your drifts early. Now, this next drift needs to be quite wide. Now, when I say quite wide, if you're a beginner, or you know, you're not looking for a super top time, you're looking for just like maybe like a 139, you know, you can go really wide on this MT. You can be like, your whole cart can be in the off-road to the right here. You can push your entire cart in that off-road, you'll be fine. If you're going for, you know, a better time, 138, 137, yeah, you wanna keep your cart kind of in the middle of the road. I mean, of course, still more to the right edge if you're not going for the double hop PRB strat, but don't go, you know, max wide. Now, the way you're gonna do that, and we're gonna watch this MT again here. So you're gonna start this MT completely neutral. Again, if you task this game, you know why. The widest possible MTs are the MTs where the entire start is completely neutral. So in terms of the amount of spin you want to induce, you don't want to go max tight on this drift, but you don't need to go max neutral either. I would say somewhere in between is probably the best. Of course, max tight is the fastest, but it's going to be the hardest to execute. If you can get max tight done, good for you. You're looking at a really strong lap on split. But in terms of consistency, in terms of just getting the attempts out there, you can still hit a great time just like this, 137. You hit a great time if you go pretty safe on this MT. So go somewhere in the middle for the cart spin. Now, for the very beginning, max neutral. You can see that. Like, look at Dry Bones' head. I'm not pressing anything on the D-pad. I press right for like 1 or 2 frames. But other than that, I'm just complete neutral. And you want to really minimize the amount of time you're pressing left. And you can see there at the very end, I don't steer, but oh yeah, I actually end up steering. I actually do end up steering for a couple frames here. Just to the right, tank the speed loss of the steer. You really want to make sure that your cart is going wide on this MT. Now this MT, max the spacing. Go as slow as you can while keeping PRB. Let's look at the margin on that MT. How late did I make that last? Right there. Barely any boost left. Yeah, literally, I think that was like the last frame I could have released it on. So you want to really max space it. That's the key right there. I steered for a bit. Of course, don't steer if you don't have to. Steering is slow, but in the name of consistency, you got to do what you got to do, and that'll get it done. So yeah. Okay, the next thing. So this MT, don't go as wide as the previous MT. Neutral start, quite important here. You do want to have a very neutral start, but you can see at the beginning, like I didn't go max neutral, right? Like I held right, which is still better than holding like left, but right is still actually counterintuitively holding right on this MT is actually tighter than going neutral. So I hold right, and then I just do a pretty normal MT. You want to get this MT up pretty fast, so you have a little bit of time to adjust in the shortcut. So yeah, and you can see I actually end up holding right on the last frame that I released this MT, and that just helps a bit. Jump as late as you can on the shortcut, and you can see the shortcut's quite tight, so that's the name of the game. The reason why it's okay to be wide before the shortcut is because it allows you to go really tight on the shortcut. And the fact of the matter of this, you can be quite tight up to the hill before the shortcut, but if you're wide on the shortcut, you're going to lose a ton of time. If you go wide before the shortcut, but then that leads you to a super tight shortcut, you're going to save a bunch of time. It's always worth it. So you should just do that. It's okay if you go wide before the shortcut, but you need to make sure your shortcut is really tight. Getting the exact precise alignment. Watch a video. This video, for example, will be useful. Yeah, just watch a video, see where the best place to jump is, jump as late as you can, and you'll get it. Not every single time, in my opinion. I was definitely not that consistent, but you'll get it quite often. So yeah, that's the idea. When you land, okay, next big thing. Bad times on this track. I don't even want to say bad times, even like decent times. Like even you'll see some 139s. They don't land into a drift here. Always land into a drift. Don't land and then start your MT. Don't bounce when you get here. If you bounce, then you should just reset. Don't do any of that stuff. That's a huge time loss. There's no reason to take it. Start the MT as soon as you can and get it out as soon as you can as well. The key thing is this. Right now you're driving without boost, right? Because you just landed from a big jump. You were not in an MT. You need to get yourself back up to boosting speed as fast as possible. And the best way to do that is to do a really fast MT. So get this MT out as soon as possible. You'll see on lap 3 when I do the shroom shortcut that I messed this up. I actually missed like the first couple sparks on the MT. I lose a bunch of time. I lose a ton of time just like that. Otherwise, the lap 3 split would have been absolutely nuts, but it ended up being a 32.4 because of this, just because I didn't MT fast enough. So get this MT out as fast as you can. Land into a smooth landing, get this MT out. Okay. Next thing, we're gonna stop again. A lot of stops on lap 1. You won't see this much on the next couple laps. We'll be skipping through all of this. But, okay, very critical thing here. This part after the shortcut, I would say in like times ranging from 144 to even like 138, this part seems very inconsequential, especially if you have like a mid-level time. You got a 144, you know, even like a 140, even maybe a 139. You're thinking, man, how are these low 137s, just any 137s really, how are they saving so much time over me? I'm doing the exact same strat, exact same driving. They don't look that much tighter. This is where they save the time. It's really critical to get this right. So I think the biggest thing here is that you need to basically, first of all, get the MT after this shortcut out really quick, but then this MT right here. You're going to start full neutral, max neutral on this MT. Don't press anything on the direction. Okay, then right here, you're going to pretty much push your cart more to the left. But you don't want to go super aggressively on the left here, because notice this is still a right-facing turn. So you want to pretty much hit the apex of this turn. That's where you want your cart to be. So you don't want to push your cart all the way to the left, because then you're going wide. You want to still stay tight to the right edge. You want to go in a straight line, basically. So you don't want to go max left on this MT. That's why you're starting really neutral. But you do want to kind of push your cart more to the right, or sorry, to the left. And then because the ground is slippery, the ground will automatically push you around this turn. So that's what you want to do. Trust in the ground, trust in the slip, and it'll work. Okay, then next key thing. This MT, get it out as fast as you can. I don't know exactly why this helps. It pretty much just has to do with the slip of the track. You want to have as straight as possible of a line to get to where that snowman is. You need to be in an extremely straight line from here, and the best way to do that is to just start this next MT quickly. Again, it's going to be it's not a full neutral start this time. You're gonna press left a little bit earlier, just a little bit earlier. Push your car a little bit more to the left. You want to spin it a little bit more to the left, but not a lot, to kind of go in a straight line. And I think that the theory for this is the longer you delay that, the more this the ground's slip is going to push you to the right, and you don't want to go to the right here. You want to go as left as possible now, pretty much in the straight line. Yeah, so you can see I actually start the MT kind of wide, because if I went max height at the beginning, then I would just go way too much to the left and I would just die, right? But instead, right here, we get this, brilliant line, perfectly spaced. Another key thing, you really don't want to lose boost in that set of MTs, because if you lose boost, then you'll actually go really wide. You want to always stay in the max boosting state, so make sure you practice the spacing right there. Otherwise, you'll definitely be losing a lot of time. Yeah, so then right here, really hug this corner. You can see how close my cart is to the left edge, to this off-road. Of course, I don't hit it. You don't want to hit it, obviously, but yeah. Okay, next critical thing. So you can bounce here or get a smooth landing. It actually does not matter. I've not found any significant time loss or time gain either way. Just doesn't matter. Don't freak out. Jump quite early from this ledge. And the key thing, make sure that you have boost while you're going into the air. If you jump when you've already lost boost, you're losing an absurd amount of time. You should just reset if that happens to you. It shouldn't happen to you if you space it well. Of course, you want to go kind of slow on these MTs. But yeah, make sure you have boost when you leave that ledge. Make sure, another thing, very critical, make sure that your cart is, like, dry bones' head is completely straight when I'm going off of that. And then I hold the direction input once I go into the air. That's very critical. You can spin land here or not spin land here. It's really going to depend on how your cart's facing. You're just going to have to react in the moment. Get yourself around this turn. Okay, another really huge time loss spot is coming up. So, okay, it pretty much starts here. So you'll notice how close my cart is to this hill. Make sure your cart looks like that. Next big thing, just like the part after the shortcut, the snowman section, it looks like it does not even matter. It looks like you're just snaking through a straightaway. But no, it matters a lot. And if you go wide in the snowman section, you're going to lose a huge amount of time. And it's going to be super deceptive. You're never going to know. Unless you race a ghost or you're really, really paying attention to your lines. That's why I'm making this video. So at least you're aware of what you should be looking for. So push your cart as much to the left as you can. Any right-facing MT in this section, just like this one, max neutral it. Max neutral it at the start and push left as much as you can. You can see like Dry Bones' head is mostly facing to the left in this MT, even though it's a right-facing MT. That's what you got to do. Push your cart all the way to the left. Okay, then on the left-facing MTs, go tight, as tight as you can. Actually, on this MT, you don't want to go max cart spin. You want to go pretty close to max cart spin. So don't press left immediately after you press the R button, but like pretty close to right after you press the R button, you want to be pressing left. So you go tight here. Yeah, just like that. And then, okay, another super neutral MT right there, RMT, and then max tight left MT. This MT, you got to go max tight right there. Okay. Okay, next really critical thing. Make sure you release this MT before you hit the snow. This might seem counterintuitive if you're coming from a 100cc background or if you played a BLS flap here and you're wondering, okay, in Wi-Fi strat or I'm playing the BLS, oh, I want to always release the MT once I hit the off-road. You want to get that off-road acceleration. But no, with the Egg 1, the off-road speed is just way too high. So you don't want to go for that unless you're looking for an extremely top-level time. If you're going for like a super low 137 or like a 136 with the Egg 1, I mean, best of luck to you. You definitely don't need my advice. But, you know, yeah, if you're looking for like, you know, the world record with the Egg 1, right? Or like, you know, top 3 in the world, yeah, you maybe need to do that. But if you're looking for pretty much any other time, even a low 137, release this MT right before the hill. Right before the hill. Now you can tell like literally 1 frame later I'm on the hill. That's pretty much what you want to do. So yeah, right before the hill you want to release it. Make sure that you don't press R on this border between the road and the off-road, otherwise you're just going to die. Okay, next pretty critical thing is another huge time save, especially if you play Wi-Fi strat, you're probably already aware of this, but if you don't, let me enlighten you. So you charge the MT. I don't even know. Okay, so I charge the MT right here. Now, right after I go up that slope, you release the MT. So not before, because if you go beforehand, you'll just fly off the hill. You don't want to do that. Right after the hill, release it. And then, so here's a really critical thing. When you land onto the ground, this is not a slip drift. Do not do a slip drift. If you do a slip drift, your car's going to go way too much to the right. You're going to go to the right of the leftmost snowman. You can see the distance here. If you go to the right of that, your line is fucked. It's really bad. Just don't do that. Sometimes you'll even end up on the second hill. Also really bad. Don't do that. So wait for your car to land on the ground a bit, and then start your drift once you actually hit the ground. Now, again, if you're a tasser, you'll understand why. The point is this: if you start your drift while you're still at off-road speed, your airspeed will be locked to the off-road speed. If you wait once you hit the ground, then in the air, you'll have your ground speed, which is much faster. So wait till you're on the ground to start this MT. You can see my speed, airspeed is like 106 kilometers. Okay, great. Next part. Yeah, push your cart in a very straight line to where this cave entrance turn thing is. Again, similar principle to right after the shortcut. Those MTs need to be started pretty fast after each other, and you can't lose speed in between. Can't lose boost. You got to space that out correctly. Otherwise, the road will slide you too much to the right. So space it out. Go inside. As you like, you can see this is very tight here. Now, the cave, this is, I'll just let it play actually. The cave is a spot where I guess many mid-level players think that they're losing the most time. Cave's quite straightforward. It's really just dependent upon how tight you do this upcoming corner. If you do it really wide, of course, you're going to lose a ton of time, but you can actually see right there, I actually half missed an MT. That's why this lap will end up being a 32.4, as opposed to something really good like 32.3, low 0.3, because otherwise the driving is very phenomenal in this lap. But yeah, the half missed MT cost me a bunch of time. So yeah, you can see you're really tight on the walls here. It's very straightforward. Just go tight. There's not much to say. Just gonna have to manage that as well as you can. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing, not super critical anymore. There's not too much more analysis to be had. So yeah, 470, kind of a bad lap 1 split. It's like decent, but yeah. Okay. Next thing, be really tight on this turn. That's really critical. Be super tight on that turn. Pretty straightforward, of course. You want to be tight on all turns, but yeah, be really tight on this turn. Upcoming turn as well. Just be really tight there. Very deceptive time loss. Okay, now it's a streamless shortcut strat. So there's a lot of competing strategies to do this. This is the one I like the most. Pick whatever one you like. I'll show how to do this one. So we'll just go back here. So you go really tight across this turn, of course, as tight as you can. Then here, you're going to do this like drift hop towards the right. And make sure that you push your cart a lot to the right. Straighten the cart out and then do the next drift. Start in neutral. And then yeah, so don't go max wide on the drift, but go like a little bit wide, of course. Like start the drift by holding right. Don't go like neutral, for example. I mean, you can go whatever, it doesn't matter. You usually go kind of wide. And then, okay, so now here, make sure that before you release this empty, you're holding to the left. Like before you release it, make sure you're holding towards the left. And then you're gonna jump into the off-road and then jump at the very end, right before you fall off. Like as late as you can, you're gonna jump. So I'll just play that again quickly. So hold to the left, jump into the off-road, and then jump out of it. And then make sure you're holding right as you jump out. Then similar principle, get this empty out as fast as you can. You're probably gonna bounce. If you get a smooth landing, don't even bother expecting that. Yeah, so you're gonna bounce, get this empty out as fast as you can. Now, the one key thing to notice is on this lap, I actually delay the next RMT a lot more than lap 1. And the reason for that is because you're landing from a shroomless shortcut and on a PRB shortcut, so you need to space it out a bit more. So that's pretty much the only key difference. Again, don't lose boost here, otherwise you're kind of cooked. You can see I barely get that out, perfect spacing. And then yeah, the rest of this lap is exactly the same, so we'll just skip past all of this. And then, yeah. Last thing I'll touch upon is the 3-lap setup for the shroom shortcut. You're going to see a really bad shroom shortcut here, so it's going to be an example of what not to do. And I'll show you in the flap how to do it. So of course, go tight on this turn. You'll see on the next turn, I go quite wide. I was quite nervous on lap 3. So kind of low precision at the beginning. Really bad turn right there, super wide, but it is what it is. So you want to push your cart much tighter than it is in this video. Shroom very early right there, so you don't bounce. Jump late. And now here is where the huge time loss in this lap is. So right after the shroom shortcut, just like the PRB shortcut, just like the shroomless shortcut, you want to get your MT out as fast as possible. Minimize the amount of time you're not in boost. You can see here, I missed the MT like almost completely. And then I get another half miss MT and then I get the MT out only there. Huge time loss. Still recovered, but yeah, that's pretty much the 3-lap. Same stuff happens. This driving was quite decent, but whatever, you don't really need to watch that. And then the finishing time with these two pretty major mistakes, lap 1 half missed MT, big shroom shortcut missed MT. 4-7 was a horrible split, to be honest, for the shroom, but lap 2 was great. And so the final time ended up being a 137. Elite egg 1 time right there. So now we're going to go to the flap. I'll show what a good shroom shortcut looks like and explain how the flap chart works. So yeah, pretty much. Okay, so the first critical thing that's different from the 3 laps, you're going to steer a little bit with the egg 1. On the 3-lap, you go quite wide on this turn, but on the flap, you're going to go inside this tree with an LMT. Do another LMT right there. Jump into the off-road. Make sure that you're holding right as you jump. Very late, jump and hold to the left. Then when you land, you're going to do a spin landing. For those of you guys who are not familiar with the spin landing, I would recommend watching the tech tutorial on how to do them. But as a very brief explanation, you're going to be holding left in the middle of the air. And then when you land on the D-pad, you're going to make sure you're not holding anything on the D-pad. That'll cause your cart to spin to the left. Okay, next critical thing. Shroom very early, right as you land. Not right as you land. You're gonna bounce when you land. Once you land from the bounce, you're going to shroom. Now, another very critical thing. So you see how my cart is actually on the road for a few frames before I go to the next shortcut? That's very important. If you're using the BLS, that won't matter. And I mean, actually, really none of this advice is relevant for the BLS. But with the egg 1, you want to make sure that your cart goes onto the road just for a tiny bit. You want to really minimize the amount of time it goes on the road because you are going wide. But this is like pretty optimal. Go on the road just for a little bit so that you get enough vertical speed up this hill to actually get the shortcut. And then jump as late as you can. Land smoothly, and now you'll see what a good landing from the shroom looks like. So I get that MT out, bam, just like that. Get that MT out as fast as possible. Then after that, it's just like the 3-lap. Yeah, and you can see this is really tight driving. So I'll just show a good example of what really, really tight driving on this part looks like. See, just perfect. Yeah, it's pretty optimal right there. This is an ideal Snowland section as well. You can see how I'm really pushing my cart over to the left. Yeah, good hill release. Now here I actually end up having a little off-road clip. Doesn't end up losing too much in this run, but definitely not optimal right there. And then whatever, the rest of the lap is just about the same as usual. Oh, and then just for the ending, I do that little wide MT there. That actually saves a little bit of time. Yeah, and then So I just do neutral hops to end, just end as tight as you can with the egg one, of course. That's all there is to it. Not too much to the flap if you already know the 3-lap. But yeah, thank you for watching, pretty much. Yeah, that's all there is to say.